Hi everybody, it's Christie over at Crafty Christie's Creations, and today I'm going to show you how to put together this beautiful layered bat. It's got 3 layers, and I went ahead and I've got them all cut out. And my middle layer here I hit with some embossing powder, silver, and went ahead and did that. And then it's hard to tell, but I did ink my orange one here a little bit. So we'll start with our base layer, and then we'll add this one. We're gonna go ahead and flip it over. And because I noticed when I did this one, you can kind of see my pop dots a little bit. So I'm gonna try something different. I took a Sharpie to the edge of my little foam dots, and I'm hoping that that will help hide them a little bit. And you can see my paper is kind of warped here from the heat embossing, and I didn't let it sit under something heavy for very long. So we'll just have to see how this goes, but I'm gonna go ahead and just start adding some of these pop dots, and I'm gonna should put these ones that I've already colored on these smaller pieces so that maybe they won't show up. So my pop dots I purchased from the dollar store. They're actually starting to carry a lot of crafting supplies. So it's 528 pieces for $1. I don't think you can get a better deal than that. So if you have a dollar store by you, check it out. All right, so I'm just putting these on every other ring. So I want to make sure that this is going to be well supported. And I don't want to have any flat areas when I go to lay it down. Okay, so that's all of those. Let's grab some more. I went ahead and colored the edge of that. These ones are a little bit too thick, so I'm just going to take my scissors and cut them in half. They don't always cut very nice. Then I'll show you my little trick. Just gonna flip this over, and I'm just gonna paint the edge with my Sharpie marker. Again, I'm only doing this because the color underneath is black, and since these are really skinny, these little spots are really skinny, I didn't want the white showing through. Now, they do make black foam squares, so that's always an option as well. But I am just gonna work with what I have. And that means we're just gonna color them. Okay, so I've got all the sides colored on this one. I'm not worried about the top and bottom because that's what's sticking down, so we're not really gonna see that. All right. Some of these did not cut very thin. So I'm just gonna apply these all around. These ones are pretty thick. Well, let's try these two. We'll color these. And yes, this means I'm getting Sharpie all over my fingers. Sharpie, you can get off with some rubbing alcohol if soap and water isn't doing the trick for you. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, and then I'm going to use these larger ones to come through here. So like I said, I'm just placing these so that way everything's well supported. I don't want there to be any dips in my design. Okay, And the rest of these spots, okay. So I don't need to color these bigger ones. You're not gonna see them because the edge is thick enough. So I'm not as concerned. Okay, so we'll give this a little test, and it's hard to tell because this one's pretty warped from the heat embossing, but I can see some of the black through there, so I'm glad I colored that, and that looks pretty good. So now we'll go ahead and peel all the pieces. All right, I've got all the pieces peeled off here, and so there's a couple ways you can do it. You can try to lay it down this way. I like to flip mine over, especially this one's a little bit going to be difficult because it's not sitting flat. And then I'm just going to try to hold at some of the angles with my fingers to try to keep those angles the same. I'm lining up the head first, and then just trying to keep those angles the same. And if that doesn't work, you can carefully pull. Okay, that wasn't quite right. So if you wanted to do it this way, same technique. I like to pick mine up, and I'm gonna hold this angle right here in the curve, and then I'm gonna hold in the curve on this side, and I'm just gonna try to get the head connected first, and then just kind of squeezing the angles all the way around, and then I'm gonna press down. So once you got that center pretty well fixed, there, the rest of them will fall into place pretty well. And then I'm just gonna lightly press on all those foam squares, make sure there's some good dimension. If there's any spot that's sagging, you know, you can try to slide a few more foam dots under there. But now that I've painted those sides, you can't tell if any of those spots are hanging off, you know, if it was cut too big. So that was really helpful. I'm really glad I did that. That was worth the time. Tuck that one under a little better. Okay, and then for the next layer, this one's just gonna sit right on top, just like that. And so since it's gonna sit on the edge, what I'm gonna do is put my foam dots around the edge of this, and then I'm gonna put my center ones are a little bit more tricky because they don't always have a place to line up with. So you almost have to set things, just kind of decide like where you can put them. I can put one here, you know, kind of on this. So this piece isn't gonna be as well supported, but that's okay. So this time I don't need to worry about coloring my foam squares because they're going to be on a chunkier piece here. So they will be hidden a little bit better. So I'm just going to go around and apply just on the outer edges all the way around. Okay, so I've got the big ones on there, so I'm gonna go ahead. I've still got the backing on there, so it's not gonna stick when I lay it down, but I just wanna get an idea of where I can place a couple of other little spots. And these ones I'm gonna cut into fourths, so these are teeny tiny little chunks. But that is where they're gonna need to place. So I can place one right there. So I just want to make sure this is going to be held up well. And they're really only going to set kind of right on those intersections, I think. Put another one right about there. And that one's even too big. So if you have really tiny ones, now would be a great time to use them. Okay. That'll hold that one up. I can do kind of right on this one. And about that same spot here. This one. And then that last one will just have a couple of small spots right on the edge just to help hold it up. And I think that'll have to do it. So the reason I'm lining these up, because if I just put it on these and then it falls in a dead spot, then it's actually not going to be at the right height, because if it goes on and sticks on the black, then it's not going to be at the right height, and then it'll be noticeable that your layers are not all are at different heights. So that's why we take the time to make sure where we're putting these are going to be hidden. Okay, now I'm just going to peel all the backings and then we'll get it stuck down. Okay, I've got all the paper pieces peeled off, and we're going to go ahead and flip it over, and we're just going to lay it down lightly. Again, I'm going to start with the head, and I'm just going to try to grab those edges and get that set down nicely. And then the same thing with the bottom here. And then once you do that, everything else should line up nicely. And then I'm just going around fixing my little pieces there as needed. You can see some of my little foam dots here are not quite in the right place, so I'm going to try to turn those a little bit. See if I can't hide them a little better. It's not always easy to do. Okay, so and when you look from the side, you can see some of the white ones here on the top layer, but the black ones are hidden pretty well. Same with that side. So there you go. That is how you put together the layered bat design.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future how-to videos. If you're interested in purchasing the design used in this video, check out CraftyChristie'sCreations.com. Until next time, with love, Crafty Christie!